Good morning, good evening, good afternoon.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Clarity Conference. Here we are back.
Matthew, you need to speak up, man. You cannot hear you at all.
You know, I would probably speak up, Joe, but like this episode topic, I just don't care.
So caught up in the
You're
cynicism.
such a cynic. Oh,
Damn.
I would say you're a
You're
cynic,
just
right?
such a cynic, Matthew.
Thank you.
You need to see life on the bright side.
Wait, guys, speaking of... No, I'm joking. I'm not...
Well, speaking of cynicism,
sorry.
that is today's episode. That is today's topic.
Yep.
So, cynicism.
Cynicism.
Cynicism. However
Cynicism.
you want to say it.
Cynicism.
No, because he's a cynic. Like, it doesn't matter.
care. He
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
I don't
yeah.
care. Exactly.
You're a cynic, but you're all about cynicism.
Damn right.
Yeah.
That's it.
So philosophy.
I love citizenship.
Citizenship. Citizenship.
But yes, cynicism. The act...
Cynicism. So I can't let you get away with it.
You can't keep getting away with this.
You will.
You can't.
So, guys, the whole point of cynicism is
There's no way.
I am going to say it completely wrong the entire episode.
Right.
Alright,
No,
that's
it's all
fine.
good.
He doesn't care, so it doesn't matter.
I do not care. And honestly, I am just purely motivated by self-interest. And that is what it is. Be a cynic, just to not care and do what you want to do, because who's going to stop you? Who cares about social norms and just thinking about what you should live with your life?
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, like, to start, breaking that down a bit, it's kind of like you think everyone, as Matthew said, just everyone's greedy, everyone's selfish, only out for themselves. So you kind of see the worst in people, in like humanity. So,
So I think before we even get into cynicism right now, I think we need to have some sort of introduction, because we have not been here in like a month and a half.
Point.
Because we
Maybe
just
2.
don't care.
Bro,
Maybe.
look, this is the only thing that you...
I don't care.
What the hell was that? We're gonna get sued for having that in our...
Yeah, sure. We're not.
All right, so yeah, I feel like we should have a bit of an introduction here, as we haven't been here for like a good month and a half now.
Yeah.
Also due to the 2-week break where Joe had his exams.
We did good, guys. We did good.
Yeah, he
So
did
it's
great.
alright,
He's a smart lad, so he
Thank you.
knows.
And also due to the hazardous storm condition South Australia has recently been going through. That was the main start of it. And then it turned into Joe's exams.
There you go. Beautiful way to transition into it.
And then it just turned into complicated time scheduling.
Yeah, very complicated.
So I just want to ask you guys. So apart from Joe, we know what you've been up to. Doing exams. Recently you've been getting into the gym as well. Now
I've been hustling. I've been trying going hard, and
yeah, just like we've been going at it. Going at it in the gym.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean? No, but yeah, I've been going with Joe. He's like pretty much my coach. Introduced me to the whole thing. Because like realistically, I'm still a rookie. I don't know like what to do. So
in
show
no
me the
time, I
ways.
told him I gave him 2 months, and he'll be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get down.
Why is he laughing? Why is he laughing? No, all right, no. All right, cool. So we know what Joe's been up to now. Matthew,
has Matthew been up
What have you
to?
been up to, man? What's the latest?
What have I been up to? That is a good question. I've been up to doing
Up to no good.
damn straight. I'm just, living in virtual nature. Just living in my skin, pissing in nature, living in nature.
So basically, Matthew's gone off the grid.
I have gone off the grid, and I accepted being a cynic.
Well, he doesn't show his eyes anymore because
He
otherwise...
doesn't want you to properly identify him anymore. Go on.
Damn straight. That's totally why I'm wearing these sunglasses indoors. Not to be cool, but because I just reject so.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's it.
I'm a cynic. I'm not a part of the status quo. Or I question the status quo.
He's definitely part of the community r/cynicism.
Yeah.
100%. I believe in every single conspiracy theories. You can name any conspiracy theories, and I believe it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, go ahead, name one.
All right.
I'll tell you if I believe it.
So we know that obviously Joe's been getting into the gym. Matthew's been off the grid a little bit.
What have you been doing as well?
Me, I've been personal training.
Yeah.
Young fine man over here. And been training a lot and catching up with friends. But yeah, now that we're all back here ready to go, I think there's gonna never be a better time than now.
Exactly, to just get things back
Start
on
the
track.
episode again. Yeah, that's it. Get it rolling again. Get the ball rolling.
Like nature,
Keep the momentum.
like the winds.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't care.
That's it. All right. So I guess the first thing we should discuss is how cynicism came to be. What's the history of it? And I think Matthew knows a little bit about that more than we do. So we're just gonna listen here. His eyes have been revealed. Get him, boys. Get him. I get him.
It's only been revealed partially, for I accept the light of the world. But yeah, cynicism is a relatively, how would I say, an old type of philosophical nature in the 4th century BCE, and there are different sources of saying when it was discovered, such as Sinope or Athens, from 4th century to 6th century. Thank you. He's adjusting my boomstick. Thank you, babe.
Wait a minute. Did you call me? What'd you call me?
But the most earliest accounts of cynicism is perhaps 4th century BCE by Diogenes in Sinope. But for the purposes of me not caring and me being a cynic, instead of saying his full name, I am going to be referring him as Dio. And no, that is not a partially.
Yep.
But yeah. The original roots of cynicism basically started out as not caring for these social norms, rejecting the status quo, living in a virtualist nature, and just doing what you care, and just be motivated by it. It's just, if you can just be off, don't be offered anything at all. Or don't accept what you're offered and just do what you want. If you want to lay back in the sun, go for it. If anyone offers you anything, just tell them to move out the way.
So wait, so you're saying that the reason for them offering those things is for their own betterment and
reject materialistic and just embrace the nature.
Why?
Because you just got to accept and reject that the status quo is sometimes not the best outcome for it. That simply going with the flow isn't always the best, such as I believe a lot of conspiracy theorists are cynics because they don't go with the flow.
Yeah.
They believe
they sort of like they tend to, right? Okay, you're gonna say it's from Jordan Peterson's book again, they tend to build up, cynics tend to build up a lot of resentment and tend to not take the blame for themselves, or they think that the world is out to get them by some sort of external forces. So they blame everything that's happened to them on other people or things or the world, and so they build up this resentment for the world, for the nature of the world, and and so they bring it upon themselves to have this mindset that everybody is out to do things just for themselves and not for others.
Yeah, so like completely selfish.
So that's what the philosophy is. It's kind of like, yeah, the belief that people are only interested in themselves and that they're not sincere in the actions and words that they use and every day.
And I feel like with that, it plays a bit into nihilism a bit, because you believe
course.
everyone's selfish and that some things aren't worth doing, like helping other people. Like you kind of think, oh, it's player versus player, but like that kind of comes into nihilism. You don't think things are worth it. As Matthew was saying before, you just live life, just be like, it is what it is. Like, who cares?
I mean,
and it's like, and to those sort of people, they don't really have like they see life as not having a purpose.
Yep.
And they're just thinking like, why are we all pretending that we all like each other and that we're all trying to help each other? People, like, it's the whole idea that like people are fake and people want to pretend that they're doing stuff for you for their own benefit.
Okay, that's completely nihilistic.
And, and that's just, I think, like, looking at life in that way, in my opinion, is like, what's the point in it?
Yeah, it's
like, what's the point?
Miserable.
That's a miserable way to live your life. And like, no offense to Matthew, but but as a cynic, but just I don't know. I just think. All right, no. Cynics are great people. I can't see the look that he's giving me through those sunglasses, but I can only assume. I can only assume that they're not very. Oh yeah, by the way, just for context, guys, Matthew's not actually a cynic.
No,
just so we know, Matthew, very positive, joyous guy.
Matthew's the most wholesome man I've ever met, and to see him like this is actually just quite funny. It's like it's
unusual.
Yeah, I know, it's so unusual.
Hello, I am New Master 69420, and welcome to another episode. I can play many roles, thank you. But yeah, believe it or not, cynicism actually involved, and some would say it is very different to what it is now. What it is now to what it is then. Especially with nihilism, Stoicism actually. Stoics of the time in Athens, I believe 12th century, even earlier, around 6th century, actually wanted to adapt cynicism from Dio, and they wanted to tone it down and become it more socially acceptable, which is funny enough counterintuitive of the original message that Dio was trying to spread. But if you were to compare what a cynic was then to now, you would probably find a large difference between the two. Because a cynic back then would piss in public, sleep in the streets, not because they're homeless, but because they want to live in nature, reject technology, masturbate in public, and I'm not joking about that. But yeah, the whole journey of how cynicism has evolved and adapted, reimagined even, it's vastly different, and that's because of people's interpretations of it and how it affects each. Yes, when you hear someone as being called a cynic, you automatically assume, oh, he's a cynic, that's a negative lighting or output. But to be called a cynic back in the day or slightly earlier, or different groups of people, if you were to ask them, it would seem more so as a compliment. Or simply, the word cynic is derived from the word, I can't remember. But originally...
Oh, your microphone keeps like cutting it. So if you lift the microphone up a little bit.
Easy. There we go.
Yeah. And you keep it like right, like when you talk into the microphone.
I got it then.
We've been playing around with this fucking limiter and all these filters on the microphones, and we just can't get it right. And look, we've tried it. Look, we've managed. This is the best we've got right now. But yeah, we're just gonna have to take a bit more time and work it out properly, because it's a pain in the ass. Like, I think you keep cutting out in between your sentences and stuff. So for the listeners, it'll be even like more unusual to listen to.
Because exactly, I can't tell. Yeah. Also, I'd just like to quickly say, when you were saying before how it was a compliment and now it's negative, I just want to know both your opinions. Do you believe that the word cynic or cynicism deserves to have a negative connotation to it? That is your personal opinion.
I believe, like anything, too much of one thing is bad for you. to have a little bit of everything is just right, like Goldilocks. Too hot, too cold, just right.
So you think like you can balance cynicism to a healthy level? Is that what you're saying?
You can't, yeah, like, well, I guess like what he's trying to say is like you can't assume that the person who's offering you something is always doing it for their own benefit, but you can't always assume that they're doing it just for your benefit.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta.
So like just to help you out, like you can't really expect that. So I guess, but that's not being a cynic then.
Yeah. So like,
if you're balancing it, you're not a cynic.
Not a cynic.
Exactly.
So
that's where.
So cynicism is the full belief that people are just doing things for their own benefit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I say that is plain false.
So you believe that it deserves that negative connotation?
Of course, yeah.
I agree with that. I think
because we should try, like, by giving it that negative connotation, we're encouraging people to not go down that path.
Exactly. And as we were saying last episode, Stoicism is kind of the opposite, or not opposite, but it's a very different way of viewing life.
That's right.
So I think
exactly right.
Stoicism is much better than cynicism.
I somewhat agree and disagree. And leading back to my earlier statements before, I found the original Greek definition was kunikos, which means dog in ancient Greek. And I believe Dio at the time loved this association with this word that he eventually took on kunikos, which then led to the Latin interpretation of cynicus, which led cynics.
Huh.
And because dogs, much like cynics, don't care about materialistic objects or wealth or reputation or status, they just want to be free, they want to enjoy life, and they just don't care about the opinions of others. They're just dogs, and I'm sure you two, owning dogs yourselves, just happy creatures.
Yeah, it's living life.
Except Chibo. Chibo's
Chibo's out to get everyone.
Vicious man.
Chibo.
Dog.
I mean, what breed is Chibo?
Maltese Shih Tzu.
Yeah, a tiny ass dog. He's like 80 years old, and he's fat, fluffy, and vicious.
Yeah.
Except for the people that he knows.
Yeah, exactly. He's very kind to us. Yeah. Most.
I've seen him kill 2 birds in front of me.
Really? Did you?
Yeah, he killed baby birds.
In front of... Oh my goodness!
I remember coming to your house. I remember coming to your house one day out of the blue, and we just see Chibo like all happy and everything, and we just see red around his mouth, and we're like,
it was scary. It was actually
scary.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Chibo, what the hell did you just do?
Just massacre, mate.
He's a mass murderer, worse than Kittler.
Yeah.
All right. So. Yeah, moving on. So, I guess, like, obviously cynicism is the complete opposite of Stoicism, where, Stoicism is trying to find silver lining in every situation and having gratitude for everything that occurs in life, for the nature of life.
Even the bad stuff.
Yeah, even the bad things. Yeah, there's always a positive outlook. So yeah, I guess, in a sense, obviously cynicism is the complete opposite of Stoicism, and you find that Stoic people are a lot more, I guess, a lot happier, and they enjoy life a lot more than cynical people.
Yeah, and
that's just a plain fact, and just because that's how easy it is to. That's that difference between having a really great life and having a really shit life.
Yeah.
Because you, as a cynic, you see everything in a negative connotation, or associate everything negative with negativity, and as a Stoic, you associate everything with a positive outcome, and that can only have positive effects in your life.
Exactly.
And being a cynic, complete opposite. That can only have negative effects on your life.
Yeah.
The way that you treat people as well. And just the fact that like you might just be wrong. You might just be plain old and simple wrong. Right? That you might have this, and you have this preconceived judgment of everyone that they are just doing things for themselves, and so you treat them differently.
Yeah, exactly.
But just think about it, like, what about that small chance that you might be wrong? You're just treating everyone like shit, and you're having this shitty preconceived judgment about them just because of your one belief that could potentially be wrong.
Exactly. You don't
right?
truly know.
And that's going to affect the relationships you have with people and make your life into an even worse state than it is right now.
Yeah.
And it's sort of opposite with Stoicism. It's like, you know, you see the positive the positive in everything, then you start to notice that, you know, in every situation you feel a lot more positive, and your life will be better for it. You'll be in a state of, well, I guess not a state of happiness, but you'll be working upwards towards that instead of downwards.
Exactly. Yeah.
I disagree.
Oh.
Because Stoicism, cynicism, pessimism, optimism, it's just a way of thinking. To simply stick yourself on one road, I think it's stupid. Because both Joes, let me ask you this. When you go to the city, do you always take the same side street to go to the same place every single time? Or do you sometimes walk down different side streets?
I'm not going to lie. I take the same one every time because I know that one is the most effective way of getting there. Mm. And I've learned that through practicing that.
Have you never taken different side streets though?
Well, no, because I've been coming from, unless I've been coming from a completely different direction, then it's like, obviously I'm going to take a different side street. If I'm coming from like the south of where I'm going, the north of where I'm going.
Yeah, that's life. Your life may be in the same route constantly, but every now and then you go down different side streets, aka different routes in your life. So to simply firm yourself in one position or one ethical position, is stupid in my opinion. Because to simply be stoic and by itself stoic, I do not believe you will get the fullest out of your life. I believe you can be stoic, you can be a cynic, you can be a pessimist, and you can be an optimist. Different times, different phases of your life. Okay? I'm not saying to be at the same time all the time. I'm saying different situations in different periods of your life calls for different results or different results.
And the thing that's interesting about that, though, actually, is here's like I guess you could say like a defense against like for cynicism. So someone said, if you expect the worst from everything, the outcome cannot truly affect you or harm you. So that's interesting because in a way that's what Stoicism is trying to achieve. But I just still think that's much more detrimental to your well-being than Stoicism.
Yeah, I just feel like the same quote can apply with Stoicism though. It's like, if you know how with Stoicism it says to like remove your emotion from certain situations. It's kind of the exact same outcome here.
Yeah.
But in a more positive light.
Exactly. Rather than expecting the worst, you're not expecting anything.
And then
you can't really.
Yeah. And I think like, I understand completely what you're saying. And, you know, with Matthew's point about not sticking to one path, you sort of like, you need to like understand that, not understand, but by going on like one path, you have some sort of guide of how you want to live your life, right? And by following a certain path that you believe is right, you know, like just because I don't know, for example, how can I put this? Stoicism is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to live your life, right?
I agree.
And I feel like there is no other reason to stray off of that path, because it's, I guess, the most optimal way to live your life. And I feel like that's a situational thing, Matthew, where you said like you go the same path. That's a practical thing. That's because I'm coming from, like south of the city or north of the city, and I'm going different streets because of that.
You completely missed what I was saying. I'm not saying the same destination as if you're going to the city. I meant metaphorically life.
Yeah, but like, what do you mean by that? Like why should, if something's working for you, why shouldn't you stick to that?
I'm not saying if just because it's working for you, you should change it. I'm just saying for something that's out of your control, sometimes being a cynic, not cynics, stoicism, or being a stoic, might not always be the necessary or only choice in the outcomes that is presented to you. You can continue being a stoic, or you could try being a cynic. Because I know different people react to certain different things. Some people would rather want to be told upfront about something that relates to them, while other people would rather want to go around the bush and not be told the truth straight up. It arrives and comes by different situations and different points of your life. Because to simply say, if you're constantly happy, you eventually lose the meaning or feeling of happiness, because otherwise, what's there to enjoy if you're always happy? Sometimes to make the happy moments even happier or more worth it, there has to be some sad moments to make those happy moments more important.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, see, I think that's like, I don't know, that sort of like doesn't really like answer the idea of what we're saying, though.
I'm saying in moderation, it's good. It's not always good to be a cynic. It's not always good to be a stoic.
Yeah, but in moderation, when is it okay to be a cynic?
Whenever like, you have to look out for yourself. Because
but what about being a stoic, though? Stoicism, I don't know, I feel like you're doing yourself a better justice by being a stoic rather than a cynic in every situation.
While I understand what you mean, sometimes it's better to not always be one. But like just me personally, I feel like I should always aspire to try and be stoic, like no matter what it is. But I do understand.
And why is that, Joe? Why do you feel like in every situation you should try and be a stoic rather than a cynic?
I think, you should always. I don't know, because I always want to, try and benefit myself. Okay, no, hold on, that's worded weirdly. I always want to. I perceive things the best way I can, and even if it's meant to be perceived as like a bad thing, I want to try and use it to uplift myself and benefit me. And see, I feel like with cynicism is a complete opposite. Like you'll just be like, oh, everything's terrible, and then when terrible things happen, you're like, yeah, expected, and you get no growth from that.
So maybe,
whereas with stoicism, I want to try and get growth from everything.
So maybe like Matthew, your definition of cynicism is strewed a little bit from what like the actual definition is, because I feel like you, in some sense, I don't know, I feel like you see cynicism as this thing as like, oh, maybe like sometimes I feel like you see it as a way of being able to benefit yourself, and nobody has said that cynicism has resulted in bettering themselves, or there's nothing positive associated with cynicism online anywhere. Like all these comments of cynics themselves say that their lives are sad, they're depressed, and all because they think that the world is such a shitty place and everyone's just working for themselves. And so I don't know, like, so what would be your defense for cynicism being a pathway for growth and actually being like okay to follow as a person throughout your life? And even if you only do it sometimes, also, I still feel like it's not the right path to pursue.
Because with that, I just want to quickly say, I'll let you say your point and then I'll say this. There's like an interesting point online where, actually, hold on, can I just quickly say it now?
Yeah.
So this is just from like a YouTube comment section, all right? But so, so I'm not going to say this is like, very reliable, but I just want to, like this guy said.
Well, everything's like subjective anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to, read it anyway. So he says, as a cynic, I'm just a person who expects to see the worst in others, but I just for once want to be proven wrong, that there is someone that is good. But the reason that sticks out to me is so he admits he's a cynic and he has a certain perception of life, but he wants to be proven wrong. That's interesting
right.
to me. So he wants to not be a cynic.
So it's less about nihilism and resentment.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So obviously it's not stemmed from nihilism and resentment, but it's stemmed from maybe his own personal experiences with people. But I guess that is some sort of resentment, I guess, to the world. Like, because he's had these certain experiences, he thinks that that all people are like that.
And he wants to be proven. Yeah, okay, good point. Yeah, and he wants to be proven wrong.
He wants to be proven wrong.
I just find that interesting, though, that he's not completely indulging in it. He wants to be proven wrong.
That's right.
But then I guess he's still being a cynic because he's saying he wants to be proven wrong like it's not really possible. You know what I mean? He's saying like, oh, I want to, where it's like, you just got to see it. You just got to actually allow yourself to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, like, back to my question from before, what would be your defense for looking at the world in a cynical way or in a cynical mindset, from a cynical perspective? Let's like a better.
Okay. Let's say for this, does a circle fit in a? Just answer the question.
Come on, man. Come on. Yeah.
Can a small square fit in a? Yeah. All I'm just saying is that everything is subjective and everyone has an opinion. Some people find it easier to be a cynic compared to being an optimist, being stoic.
Now that does not. True, but that does not make it like acceptable.
Getting there.
Yep.
Do I believe reality is good by nature? Hell no. Everything is just bad and all. Okay, and you can like leave.
Matthew?
Cynicism?
Cynicism?
You are cynic.
Wait a second.
No. Yeah.
Not everything's bad and awful.
Buddy.
Damn, bro, he's actually cynic.
No. If you constantly rely on good people, okay, I guarantee you sometimes, if not most of those times, you will be sorely disappointed. I will probably say cynic people aren't happy by nature because it's very contradictory to the definition of cynic. But I believe that cynicism or cynic people that lead an unhappiness or live through unhappiness is then leveled out by things that make them happy. I mean, Joe, or any Joe, are you guys always constantly happy, or do you just wake up one day where you feel groggy, tired, depressed, or sad?
Okay, sure. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah.
Reality and life, by default, is just unhappy, sad, or joyful. But it's the things that you do, the things you enjoy, or the people you hang out with or talk with makes you happy.
So like what you're saying is what you should try and have well, no, you're saying that it's inevitable that there's going to be some shitty days, sure.
Yeah.
But
it's just an outlook of how someone might be able to process their life or their lifestyle. Because not everyone might like to eat an apple pie. Some people would rather want to eat a pumpkin pie, for example. It's just an easier taste to digest. So some people might find it easier to be a cynic, while other people will find it easier to be a stoic. Same way, other people will find it easier to be a pessimist, and some people find it easier to be an optimist.
So
it's subjective.
So what the argument is, though, is that why shouldn't you try to be a stoic rather than a cynic? Because in every situation,
it's subjective. It's a lifestyle.
It's a shitty lifestyle as a cynic.
It is a shitty lifestyle, but
and like some people are like that. But you know, it doesn't matter. We're not arguing whether people are like that or not. We're arguing whether it's better to be stoic rather than cynic.
No, because if you constantly think as life as a shitty place or it could be better, okay, if you think of life always near the bottom, all the things you do with your family, your friends, your colleagues, your hobbies, it makes those default shitty days better every single day.
So basically, you're saying to have low expectations.
Yeah.
You're saying by having low expectations and then realizing like through those so like you have the you go into your day thinking, oh, this is going to be a shit day.
It's always going to succeed your expectations.
And then when good things happen, those expectations are exceeded, but
the small things make it even better.
Yeah, and you can't be disappointed.
But this is my pushback on that, right? So you won't be satisfied by those things that happen during your day because you feel like the intent of those actions, those good deeds that people are doing for you, or just like the intentions of all those people that are apparently making your day better or exceeding your expectations, they won't exceed your expectations because you think that they're just
Sorry.
No,
sorry.
No, I'm kidding. But
I had a very late night watching an anime called To Your Eternity, and I stayed up crying.
damn.
It's a sad anime. I'm not gonna lie.
So like as I was saying, like you won't be able to get past the fact that you think that the intent of these people are to better themselves. So those good things that happen to you, you always be thinking in the back of your mind, oh, they're just doing it for their own benefit. And so they won't make you happy. They won't exceed your expectations. And overall, you'll just be living a shitty day-to-day life. Whereas if you were a Stoic, right, you'll be seeing those things as, oh, that person is going out of their way to do things for me. And life is better for that.
And some people who that you do help out and do things, be like, oh, this person's helping me out. Fuck, I can like capitalize on this stuff.
Well, that's how it kind of works in a sense. It's like when you help someone else. Now, this is a direct thing from Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
When you offer to help someone else, they feel a sense of, I guess, enlightenment and in the fact that somebody wants their help, and they feel a sense of, I guess, working towards the greater good and putting themselves out there to help the other person, right? And so, like, in a sense, so what was the original thing that you said before? What were you saying?
Oh, and start each day thinking it's bad.
Yeah, so as Jordan Peterson says, and this is definitely paraphrasing, but there is a certain desire to be needed by people, and that's just human nature.
And human nature is selfish. It goes back to our first episode, altruism, selfishness. Everything we do is selfish by nature because we want it. We subconsciously.
You say that, but like by the end of that episode, you were in favor of altruism. Yeah. And in favor of the fact that altruism exists.
Yeah. And like life, it's very subjective. It changes.
What changes?
Your opinion, your belief, your lifestyle.
Yeah.
When you're born in this world, I guarantee you, if you're born and if you know that you are, let's say, for example, you were raised in a Christian household, and then when you move out, some people may remain being a Christian, some people may go lukewarm, or they may become an atheist. Some people may become like a different type of religion, like Buddhism, Muslim. Oh, sorry, not Muslim or Islam. Correct.
Not too sure, to be honest.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Islamic. Well, no, Islamic people aren't they? Yeah.
I'm not sure because
correct me if
most anyway.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong.
Islam's like obviously a faith, or
it's a religion.
But isn't Islam? No, sorry, no, I'm completely incorrect. Yes, yeah. Islam. Yeah, Islamic.
Again, religion. We are three people who do not know nothing.
We
just talk about it. But yeah, I'm just saying, all life and personal experience is subjective, and it changes daily basis. interests. And I think that even connects to even. No, I got a bunch of photos. Oh no, it's right there. You're right there. It's my phone background. Hang on. There's a photo of you. It's not repeating. Why is it not repeating? iPhone, why are you making me look like an asshole? There it is. There it is. That's one of the few photos I got of you.
Fine.
Because we're just used to Android, so we're not used to all that Apple iOS.
Yeah. Apple.
I got the new phone update where you can have multiple wallpapers by clicking it. And Joe thought I cropped him out of a photo, but I was like tapping through, and it kept going to the same 2 or 3 photos like 10 times. And I was like, "Why are you gonna make me look bad?"
Alright, so I mean, okay, wait.
Lifestyle. It's very subjective. It changes on a daily basis. Even like, you may go liberal go Democrat here, then you go back, or you go there for 2 years.
So are you just talking about like just everything being how you perceive it?
Everything is subjective.
Sure,
That's the whole philosophy of cynicism.
But there is
expect the worst and you never be disappointed.
But see, that's where that's like you were saying you wake up each day like expecting days to be bad. I do the opposite. I wake up and by default
you expect the day is going to be good.
I expect the day is going to be great.
But if you expect the day is going to be good,
like that though, because you perceive it like that,
yes.
The day is going to be fucking good.
Yeah,
that's what we're saying.
But if you perceive days to always be good, then what happens when you have a shitty day? It goes down.
No, but as a Stoic, you understand and you accept that those days are going to come, but that you're going to be better for it.
In theory.
No, but that's not a theory though. That is how you think.
Yeah, in theory of the teaching of it, but when you put it in practice, does it always stick? Can you still follow through?
It always works.
Okay, does it?
It has never failed anyone to think of a situation in a positive light.
Because you know, or because you think?
Well, that's what it is. It's a perception, isn't it?
Yeah,
and if
we
you
are
don't,
human beings by nature, and we make mistakes. Sometimes not everyone can follow through a decision or a choice. Sometimes some people back out. Sometimes people can't always follow through by the decision.
What if you can follow through?
It works.
What if you? Yeah, exactly. What if you follow through with Stoicism and you try your hardest every day to look at things positively?
Yeah, it can work, and it can fuck you over.
But like, how can
because
that,
then people
how can that not be a good thing?
Because then people would take your graciousness of goodness and use you for their advantage. Because to live a Stoic life is good. I believe that. But it is good. But to constantly believe that people will return the same kindness if they're not your friends, personal friends or family, and if they're strangers. Strangers will return the kindness, but then some people will not return it and will use you for your good deeds. Okay, and because if you have a constant good days and you have that one shitty day, it's going to bring it down. But if you always just start off the bare minimum, today might be okay, or today might be shitty.
Get your point, Joe.
Oh, no, I got that. Don't forget it. It's locked in.
Remember it, Joe. But if you constantly think today is going to be shitty, or it might not be as good, and then when something does good, it makes your day even better, and you just appreciate it. I'm like, okay, today started off really good then. Today started off bad, but it ended on a good note. I'm happy.
All right, Joe.
Okay, so to like counter that, when you were saying,
and which are you countering? Sorry.
So you were saying, if you're overly stoic and they can take your gracious nature for granted, and like kind of exploit it. I don't ever think of it that way though. So like whenever I'm doing like a gracious act or kind, it won't cross my. I'm not denying that they won't take. Like obviously there could be some people that could be taking advantage, but I don't like that. Will never cross my mind. Like, I don't ever think about that.
It might not cross your mind. Will it cross their mind?
But but like based on that is true. But like I would not think about that at all. So like if I'm to help anyone,
you are a good person, my friend.
Oh, thank you. But like, you know, so I'm just kind of like countering that cynicism point where I'm not expecting. But no. Once again, I'm not denying that it won't happen. There are some
there are shitty people,
like deceitful people, but yeah,
it might happen. But that should be no reason for you to expect the worst out of everyone, because for the people that are actually trying to help you, you're still going to be if you have that mindset of a cynical person, you're going to be expecting the worst from those people, and you're not going to be doing those people justice.
And another thing, even if they were to be doing it just for themselves, I feel like that shouldn't have to necessarily be a bad reflection on you. You know what I mean? So even if I've kind of like helped you out a bit and you've taken advantage of it, I feel like, you know, it doesn't really bring a bad image to your name or anything. You know what I mean? Wait, what?
Wait, say that again. Sorry, I just thought of something.
Like, even if you're doing kind acts and everything, and I know they somehow take advantage or make it like selfish some way, I still don't think that brings that, like, reflects bad upon you.
So their actions don't define their characters.
No, as in it'll define themselves more than it defines me. So because they're being selfish with what I'm doing for them, it shows who they are rather than who I'm just.
And I guess if you accept that sort of thing, it's like, if you accept that, then you're becoming the person that you're expecting them to be like, if you're cynical. So let me rephrase that. So when you're expecting the worst out of people, right? That bad act, right? You're saying that defines them and not you, right? It defines who they are as a character and not you, right? But if you think of the worst out of them, you're becoming that bad character that you're expecting them, and that defines them.
Because your actions are depicted by your mindset, which is what you just said. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Because in regards to the Stoic, for example, if someone's attacking me, not physically, all right? Like, I don't know, someone's attacking me verbally. Someone's attacking me verbally. I think that depicts their character much more than it depicts me.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, that just plays into the point.
I just thought of when you went on your counter argument, I just thought of a topic we might can talk in the future. Maybe. I'll tell you guys in the break, and then we may or may not.
We might not even have a break today.
True, because this may be a short episode.
Yeah, well, we might just have about half an hour. So...
Yeah,
I reckon. Yeah, we could definitely get.
We've done 50 minutes, so I think.
We can definitely get this done. I'll probably
an hour and a half.
I will say the idea of the topic
well.
I had at the end of the episode as we say goodbye.
Do you remember it?
I will remember it.
Because you were laughing, so that's me worried. Like, is it going to be something outrageous?
It's something relevant in media.
Okay. Yeah.
What
like
letter?
Very relevant.
What letter am I thinking of the person?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Overall, I'm gonna take off my glasses.
Revealed. Get him.
So Matthew, are you a Stoic now?
I have seen the light, and the light has disappointed me.
Oh, damn. Okay, he's not a Stoic, guys.
Yeah, no. I agree. Stoic, cynicism, optimistic, pessimism. It's just a way of life. If you really, really want to oversimplify, it's a matter of types of choices you.
Yeah. Actually, that's true. Very true.
Because you don't have to have a stoic lifestyle. You don't have to have a cynic lifestyle. You don't have to have a pessimistic or optimistic lifestyle. You can just make choices that are stoic. You can make choices that are cynic. It's optimist, altruistic, kind, charitable, joyful, anguish, wrathful. If you really want to oversimplify it, you can just make it down to that you make types of choices. You don't have to let a life as a you can let your lifestyle define you as you. Because if I say, okay, Joe, let's talk about you. Do I want to define you as a stoic person, or do I want to define you as, oh yeah, no, I know you as Joe, last name on the internet.
A stoic person is not a complete character of a person. It's the mindset that you give yourself.
Yeah,
and you call somebody a stoic because they're a person who has a positive outlook,
has a
on
stoic
things.
lifestyle.
Yeah, but that doesn't define their character. Lifestyle and
heavily on their
character.
character.
But lifestyle and character
if
are
you always see
completely different things.
If you see someone that's always down, always grumpy, are you going to see that person as like a sad person? Genuinely?
Yeah, but that's not their character.
Would you not say
they're just experiencing a sad time?
Or would you not say
so?
it is a part of their character?
I think.
See, I don't know.
Well, it depends. It depends. So, look, from what you're saying, so obviously me and Joe are stoics, right? But you wouldn't. Joe and I are stoic people, right?
About me.
Well, I don't know if you are now. Yeah, I don't know. From what you're saying you have a bit of a balance and whatever. But
I'm an agent of chaos.
There you go.
So from what you were saying, you're saying that Joe and I are completely the same character because we are stoics.
You make
and you're defining Joe and I
as yourselves. I define you as yourselves,
but
and
because we say we're stoics,
are individuals of yourselves, and you make stoic choices.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like what was your whole point of characterizing?
I don't necessarily think cynicism is a bad thing. Like I always say in most episodes, having a balance is good. Having too much of one thing is bad. Because you can be stoic, expect the best in people, and you can be screwed over. If you constantly think you're going to have the worst day and not be prepared that it might get better from it, that's a bad thing. Having too much of an emphasis of a lifestyle is bad. But to have a balance, to eventually be able to transition or shift to one spectrum to another, I believe is better result you get. Because to constantly think that life is always good, to constantly think that life is bad, you are only experiencing one possibility of life.
Very good point.
From one perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where you can, if you can be able to shift your perspective from one opinion to another, or shift your lifestyle to one philosophical perspective to another, you'll be able to get a better sense of oneself and of your character, so then you can broaden your decisions and capabilities.
So okay, I understand completely what you're saying, but you don't think, as I know you just said this, but I'm just gonna ask just in case again. So you don't think being stoic and trying to see positivity is a good thing?
I think it is a good thing. It's always good to see
But
things.
Don't you think it would be? I know you're saying balance and being able to shift, but don't you think if you just stay in stoic, that's still good? I know you said it isn't, but I'm just trying to kind of
look. It's subjective.
What is the disadvantage of seeing everything in a positive? Now, I know what you said about being taken advantage by people.
Yeah.
But what is the alternative here? You see things, you expect people to be terrible, and some people turn out to be terrible, and the people who do good things for you, you still see as terrible. Whereas as a stoic person, you see the people that are trying to help you as those people, as exactly what they're trying to do. And then you also see you still expect the people that are doing bad things or are doing not bad things, but doing things for their own benefit as the people who are doing things for their own benefit. And then you seeing that and moving on from that. So where is the disadvantage and I guess con? What are the cons of being a stoic? You know, because you're like, yes, you're going to be taken advantage by people no matter what.
That's a disadvantage, right? getting taken advantage of.
but you do that anyway. It doesn't matter what path you take. So that's got nothing to do with just being stoic.
But are you not more likely to be taken advantage of if you expect the good and nothing but the good? You are more likely to be taken advantage of stoic compared to if you're cynic. I'm not saying you can't, there's no way that you can't be taken advantage of even if you're a cynic. You probably still can be taken advantage of as a cynic, but I'm less advantage of if you are.
So what about you think that trade-off is slightly worth it? Because no, I agree with you there. That's a good point.
It's subjective.
You're more likely to
it's
get,
subjective. It's a matter of opinion.
Okay, see, for me, I still see that trade-off as worth it.
That's understandable.
And that's a good point you made, though. Yeah.
Because let me answer your question with my question. Are you a machine? Do you only think one way and one way only?
I mean, no.
Yeah, you're a person. You have emotions. You have feelings. You may want to feel a certain way, but as people of emotions and reasoning and feelings, sometimes what you want to feel can't always happen. If you break up with a girl, you'll love her for like 6 years and she's like, I want to move on. And you say, yeah, no, it's all good. I hope you find the absolute best. I hope you find someone that's good. I hope you find someone that's good. Why aren't I?
She moves on to me. Sorry, my bad, guy.
Yeah, okay, no, I know what you're saying.
To be happy, but you can't be happy.
Matthew.
Because we're not machines. We're people of emotions. Sometimes we can't control what we feel, and sometimes we just have to let it. We have to go through the process of feeling and going through our emotions. Because we're not machines that have only one default option for a certain lifestyle. We're humans. We're like the most flexible creatures on this planet that we can survive almost every single habitat. You put us in a desert, you put us in the Antarctic, the ocean, forest. We will survive in most of those habitats compared to any other animal because we have we can adapt, we can evolve, and we learn.
Right. So, okay. I
have no idea who that was. Someone just called me.
To do a bit of a pushback there. We can, I mean, this is maybe straying off from it a little bit, but how have we come to survive through natural selection, right? So,
because we're adaptable.
Example, right. But it's the people that have a certain way of living or a certain mindset, and the way that they live is not favorable, but you're more likely to survive in the world if you tilt towards this way rather than that way. So
which way are you tilting?
We're just saying with...
I guarantee you'll be able...
No, so it's in, like, for example, giraffes, the reason they have long... No, it's in, like, giraffes, the reason they have long necks is so they can, like, reach the food, and they don't have, short necks anymore because those ones died because they couldn't reach the food.
And so, like, for example, like, with, like, okay, we'll say in the situation of, I don't know, we'll say, I actually did this in school. This was, like, an activity. It was, like, based on the topic of natural selection and
Darwinism. We love him.
Is this the butterflies, Joe?
Yes.
I know about this.
Butterflies, right? So you have the I guess the camouflaged butterflies,
the white butterflies of the English oaks in England.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, we all know this one. They were able to camouflage with their environment. Now it's camouflage.
Because the trees were white. And the butterflies were white, but then pollution set in from the industrial era, which made all those white trees
I remember all this,
brown.
Yes.
And because the trees became brown, the ones that were hunted, the brown butterflies, started to thrive because they were managed to camouflage from the birds and stick in.
So your point of, like, us adapting and stuff like that, you're adapting towards a certain way of living, and that's why people survive.
And then you adapt to another one.
And that's right, but what are you doing? You're adapting to one side of things. That's how it's like a guide for living life in a sense. It can be translated straight to you having a mindset about things. If you see everything as a cynic in a terrible manner, obviously a lot more cynical people are more likely to kill themselves. right?
Well, that took a dark turn.
No, but that's true though. If you see everything in a dark light, you see no point in living because let me finish my point here. Let me finish my point. So, but as a Stoic, if you see everything in a better light, right, in a positive outlook, you have a positive outlook on things, you're less likely to be depressed and be sad and live a fulfilled life. And I guess, yeah, just like live to your highest potential, you know, and yeah, and obviously you're more likely to survive with a healthy mindset and a healthy, I guess, yeah, well, just a healthy mindset in this world rather than being a cynic. You're probably more likely to kill yourself. We can probably look up a statistic right now, actually, and see. I don't know if that's measurable cynicism, but
yeah,
that'd be hard.
That would be a very difficult thing to measure, and especially correlating that to self-harm.
Okay, but of course, being a cynical person would lead more to more depressed people rather than being a Stoic person. That's just how it is.
Yeah,
if you're happier, you're obviously not gonna commit suicide or put harm on yourself. Whereas if you're a cynic person, see everything is shit, you'd see no point in living. Some cynics will say, and some cynics may go to the point of trying to harm themselves or kill themselves because they don't see the good in life. They don't see the good from people. And because of that, they don't see the good in themselves. You know, and that, yeah, I kind of shoot off like a lot there, but if you get what I'm saying,
yeah,
you know, it's about surviving. It's about
only
survivability.
Living one side of the spectrum. I'm saying about you make choices that are Stoic and you make choices that are cynic. And as we make choices that are pessimistic, you don't go to one extreme or another. You find a balance. You adapt. You go from one spectrum to another. That's how we survived. Unless you want to be very specific, we only got so far because we made pointy sticks and sharp rocks. If you really want to be honest.
Well, yeah.
And thank you, early China, for gunpowder.
Hey, and guess what? Fundamentally, that's one way of living, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like
it's
we decided to make pointy sticks and sharp rocks because
we saw the worst in people and we killed them first,
or because to hunt
and not to kill people and see the worst in them and take what we wanted
and then
from
the
them.
people, then the people who decided that they didn't want to live that way and stick with their blunt sticks and stones all died because they couldn't hunt. Sort of thing. That's okay. It's not an actual fact.
And
but
those
we're saying
people who lost their sharp rocks and sticks got things called guns and started shooting people.
Okay, I don't know where we're going with this, but yeah.
To simply,
you know what I'm saying.
Okay, to have the extreme Stoic value, you would take advantage of and you will get fucked over. To go the extreme cynic route, you will have a very sad, suicidal lifestyle. Say, but I'm not saying extreme this, extreme that. I'm saying it's good to have choices in your life that are cynical for yourself because you should look after yourself and not get fucked over by people. As well, it's also good that when you make choices, sometimes it's better to go and see the good in people. I'm not saying you stick with this and you only stick with this. I'm saying it's good to adapt and be flexible.
I feel like I see Joe,
Joe
with something in his eyes there. I feel like he wanted to say something.
Come on.
No, I was just thinking the point. Like, well, it's kind of what I was saying before. I do understand, you can make cynic choices and Stoic choices, but to me, I don't see the value in making cynic choices. So, like, I would pretty much just not do that.
And why?
You know what I mean?
And why don't you see the value in making cynic choices, and why do you see the value in making Stoic choices?
Because as individuals, we all have, I guess, a moral compass. We have our virtues and values, and I see cynicism as going against my values.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see the value in making a choice like that because it goes against what I believe and how I want to act other people.
So you always see the good in people.
Yes. Yeah.
The good in people and the good in situations for yourself, for your
But
personal
I'm not
development.
saying
in
I'm
the future.
perfect. I always try to. Always try to. I'm not.
That's what I'm saying. You try to, because we're not machines strictly on one option.
But what he's saying is that you should try to. Doesn't mean you're going to abide by this thing because you're a machine or whatever.
But I will try to not deviate from that, like, at all.
Yeah,
So you
and
see
like, but that's trying. Though it's not saying that people have to be machines and have to, but you should try to be a stoic person and try to veer away from cynicism.
I don't think you should let a whole philosophical lifestyle define you as a person.
But you're not though. It's more about defining.
You're saying you want to live a stoic lifestyle. That is defining you as a person, is it not?
I guess so, but like, what? Okay, fine. But what is the harm in that? What is the harm in defining yourself as a stoic person?
What's the harm in trying some things that may or may not be good? Wait,
But that's good though.
it is good. Okay, if you see the good in people, what about Hitler? You see the good in him?
No, but you don't see the good in Hitler because you
At
know.
at the time,
No, you should expect. You should expect
You
the
should
good
expect.
in people. That is stoicism. You should expect it, not see. As in, if you understand that person is an evil person by fact,
Mhm.
then that person is evil,
Yeah.
and that's it, right? But what the difference with expectation is that's pre that situation. That's pre whatever happens, right? So that person comes up to you, and you're expecting them to be doing that, to be a good person, right? But you can always find out that they're not, and that's okay. It's like there's a positive outlook in that, you know. You can go and say, okay, that person, maybe I shouldn't. I had to talk to this person in order to decide that person is not a good person. I shouldn't be hanging out with that guy. And then you go and talk to other people. It's not about like seeing the good in everyone. It's about expecting the good. And when it doesn't happen, you move on and
you,
try
like,
and
cut them
find
off.
more people
Yeah.
that are going to be good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So if you're walking in a street and someone comes up to you, are you expecting, oh, this person probably wants to chat, or would you want to say, oh, some random person's coming up in the middle of the night? Should I probably expect the word?
Most typically, chat.
No, but in the middle of the night, are you saying?
In the
though?
middle of the night, if you were like going on a run or like going on a jog and someone seems to be following your trail, or someone were to come up to you in the middle of the night, are you going to be expecting, oh, this person probably wants something? Or
Very good point.
Are
Very
you
good
going
point.
to expect, oh, this person's coming up to me in the middle of the night, I should be a little worried?
Yeah. No, fair point.
That's a fair point,
true.
sure, but that's natural human instinct to detect threat,
Yeah.
right?
Is it not always good to try and detect threats that may harm you? I'm not saying always. I'm saying some choices may call for cynic results.
Or like
As
for a cynic mindset.
Or cynic mindset for one or two choices in your life. I'm not saying constantly. I'm not saying to have a full lifestyle of it. It's an option, as it's a philosophical nature that we made up. We made up ourselves. And it was very, very popular in like the 4th to 6th century. Even now, it's been like one of the few philosophical natures that survived. Because if you think about it, there were dozens and dozens of philosophical natures back in ancient Greek, Rome, Spain, the Spanish Empire, and they all died off. But why on earth has cynicism survived till now? Because it's human nature to sometimes expect the worst in people, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Because if you expect the worst and then you are wrong about that,
Like a natural human instinct to expect.
and if you're wrong about that, then it's just to be like, oh, I was wrong about this person. They're not as bad as I thought. That's good. Then you go on and live your life.
All right, maybe I should reword what stoicism means to me then. Maybe I should reword it and say it's about the acceptance of people.
Acceptance of people's
Right. And rather than, I think we've strayed off a little bit from what the actual definition of stoicism is. I feel like it's not about actually expecting the good in people. It's about accepting that there are people like that, and that you're going to meet people that are bad and good, and understanding that there is a positive outcome from both of those situations. From meeting bad people, you will decide that that person is not a good person, and you'll move on to meet other people. And if you meet with good people that are there for good intentions, and expect
stick with them.
Exactly. But to expect, not to expect that everyone's good, because not everyone is good. Okay, but it's to understand and accept that there are those people, and that there is always going to be a positive outcome, some sort of positive light that comes from meeting both types of those people and experiencing the bad and the good situations.
Yeah. It's subjective. I honestly, more recently, the more I think about it now, I believe philosophical lifestyle might, to me, is the incorrect way of doing it. It's not incorrect philosophical lifestyles, but philosophical choices that can impact your life. Honestly, that's probably how I would view philosophical philosophies. 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 I don't know why I added a double later. That's how I would view philosophies. That they're not lifestyles, but they are choices that you can make that would impact your life for better or for worse. Okay,
and by adapting to certain philosophies and trying different ways of living your life is beneficial to finding the most optimal way / guide of
because
navigating through this life.
Yeah, because different situations call for different results. Because sometimes option A isn't always the answer when you do a test, correct? Yeah. Sometimes option.
You're saying Stoicism. Your main point is that Stoicism is not the right way to look at things in certain situations?
I believe sometimes it can be. I'm just saying it's an option to sometimes view things differently every now and then.
So you're saying that in order not to being stoic in every situation is a good thing?
Yeah. Sometimes option A is correct. Sometimes option B is correct. Sometimes option C, D, E, A, all the way to bloody Z is correct. Or sometimes some of those answers like option A, B, D, F, and G are correct, and you can pick from them. Sometimes,
but from what you're saying is like you're saying like it's correct, but then you made the point. But then you made the point. Yeah, but see that's contradicting your way of thinking because you're saying it's subjective, but then these options are correct.
Well, that's subjective because you can subjectively believe that those are correct for you, while you believe option A isn't correct for you. You believe option B or C is correct, while you can believe option F and Z are correct.
So what you're saying
that's
is
the whole point of philosophies is because they're subjective.
So what you're saying is that from some people's point of view, cynicism is the correct way of looking at things because, I guess, you know what? Here's a defending point for cynicism. You're looking at the reality of things.
Yeah. Not everything is sunshine and rainbows.
Well, the reality of some things.
Yeah, because then
again,
typically they can make it much worse than it genuinely is as well.
But and also sometimes the reality of things are a lot better.
Yeah, exactly.
Than if you were to expect them as in a cynical mindset.
Yeah.
So I guess like that covered one of the questions here that we have is that as you like what you pretty much said it, Matthew, like should there be a balance of it? And you said that sometimes it's necessary to be cynical, and that was your point. And then other times it's also necessary to be stoic, but then that again is all subjective. So what we're really talking about here, we're not arguing an objective fact. We're not arguing something objective. We are arguing for our own perception of what is right and wrong.
Yeah, because that isn't what philosophy isn't objective. It's a subjective matter of the mind and belief.
And that's why you can just talk about this like this in a circle.
It's a circle
for ages
Yeah.
because what you believe might not be what I believe, and no matter what you say, like sometimes that won't change my mind.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, we're trying to make sense of it, right? And so it's going like this, right? It's going in a we're sort of just coming back to the same shit over and over
Joe,
again.
like you and I were like really stressing and pushing the fact that Stoicism is the best way to live. But
what
then, for example, there could be another person who just does not see that, because right, we don't see cynicism as a good way to live. We don't see it, right? Even with like all the points that may be mentioned, we can get the opposite. We can keep stressing, oh, Stoicism's like it's good, but they can just be like, just don't see it.
Yeah, and they could be as passionate behind the idea of pushing cynicism as much as we are with Stoicism.
And I guess that also comes down to environment, parenting, because right,
social factors.
Realistically, as Matthew was saying, we could become cynics like just instantly. Like tomorrow, I can just become like a cynic. I can just say that
because
way.
something might have happened to you that like saying fuck. My whole entire lifestyle or my way of thinking has changed because of this event or this scenario that's happened to me. And this is why I sit in the middle now.
And see, right?
So if there were statistics involved, like actually associated.
No, I didn't. Sorry, I was just locked in. Sorry, my bad, Matthew.
No, like I feel that. Oh shit! I kind of lost it now. Oh, it's gone.
Oh no!
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, no. If there were statistics on...
Oh, yes. So if there were actually statistics that prove that Stoic people live a better life than cynicism, then I can back it up with complete confidence that Stoicism is the way of living life.
But
unfortunately, there's no such thing because there's no way of measuring a person's stoicism or a person's level of cynicism.
Then it comes down to what you define as success and happy. Like, for example, we may say, oh, stoicism leads to better results and a better life, but people may not view that life as better. And they'll be like, I don't want to live like that.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right. That's
hard.
Exactly right. Yeah. And that's why I keep saying, like, see, for me, I'm just like, there is no way
and that's like,
that people can see cynicism
as good.
As a good thing to live your life by. But from somebody else's perspective, I guess like I said before, the defense for cynicism is that sometimes, you know, you don't let people take advantage of you, and you know, you see
your own self-interest.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess
they can't fathom the benefits of stoicism.
To me, that point right there, the fact of defending your own self, what was it?
Interest.
Yeah, it's your self-interest. It's like
neither are wrong and neither are right. It's a way of thinking. Or the way I'll end it.
Certain ways of thinking are just morally and ethically incorrect, though.
Yeah,
like you could say that. Like we could argue this all day long.
We could. 24-hour live stream. Let's go.
But we can agree that objectively, as humans, Hitler's way of thinking was wrong.
I'm sure someone by the name of K would disagree.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess not. Like, I guess not in a sense, because there's some people who believe that his way of thinking was correct. You know, such as certain few people.
It's like what I said back in episode like 3 or whatever. Nothing is inherently good or bad. Thinking about it makes it so.
Right.
So,
I mean,
the world, like the physical world, is perception.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I mean, I'm gonna end it on this note. Philosophy isn't a lifestyle, but a matter of choices you can make that can impact your life. That's where I'll end my discussion on.
I will end on something as well. The Joker, he said this to Batman one day. He was like, the only thing that separates you and I, one bad day. Let's end on that. So that relates to cynicism and stoicism. All it takes is, you know, like,
a bad day.
Is it a bad day? And that can be, you know, not just like a day. It could be like whatever. Like legit, I could just become cynic from now on, like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then you can be a stoic the next day.
Exactly. So all it takes one bad day.
And it takes a good day.
There's actually like a couple points here about like in defense of cynicism. It's a form of correction that life throws at you. And it's good to have cynical people around to remind the world your negative influence can take physical form, stare you in the eyes and see.
Oh, I thought it was tripping.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, bro.
I took some Hikashi mushrooms earlier. Oh my god, I can't find the fly now.
So I don't know, what do you guys think of that? It's good to have cynical people around to remind the world your negative influence can take physical form.
What's the opposite of a realist? Sorry, someone remind me. Opposite of a realist.
I don't know. It's like
optimists, I believe.
No. Oh, no, I'm not gonna say like illusionist, but it's like similar to that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, but what do you think about that, Joe? It's good to have cynical people around to remind the world your negative influence. Stare you in the eyes, screw you. What do you think?
Personally, I don't agree with that. I think if you build a good group of, let's say, Stoics or people that exhibit Stoic lifestyle, I think that'll be much more productive than if you had someone reminding you of the reality.
Productive in the sense of what?
In like if you're building towards something. So hold on, what was the? Oh, just to yep. So let's say you're building towards something like a business venture, and you have like a cynic person around you to remind you of these certain things, like the harsh reality, let's just say.
Shit.
Yeah, I feel like that is more of a detriment. I do understand where it's coming from, but to me, like just me personally, I think that's more of a detriment than if I was to have positive.
Yeah. I think having like no matter what, I feel like there's obviously going to be those negative people, those cynical people, but not to involve yourself with them.
Exactly.
But like you're saying, like to have one in your team, right? This is to avoid like willful blindness.
Yeah.
Or was it willful blindness?
Yeah, willful blindness.
Willful blindness, right? Is obviously you don't want a cynical person in your team of people who like are looking, you guys are trying to start a business, whatever. But you should be aware that there are negative things that could happen.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's part of the Stoic lifestyle.
And that's and like so obviously those negative things are coming from negative people, but they don't have to be in your group to remind you of them. You don't have to connect with those people, but you should just have the knowledge that they exist and that negative things do exist, but you don't need somebody constantly reminding you
and putting that pressure upon you.
Yeah,
you just need to be stoic and accept it when it comes and then overcome it.
I believe it's just balance.
As a cynical person though, when those things come towards you, you expect the worst out of that situation already.
Yeah, and see, I see that as a detriment though.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's the same for me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you see that as a shit thing, and I do as well, because
someone else might disagree.
Yeah, exactly. And see, that's the thing.
See, it's like realist and idealist.
That's why I keep saying like that's why I keep saying like there's no like way that people could think like this.
But people do. People do.
But then
I know some. I keep contradicting. I just realized now that we've come to this kind of like conclusive thing at the end here. I've been like contradicting myself a bit, but yeah.
But but like you said, like we could be living the right way, but
someone might think you're living the wrong way.
But as long as we're thinking that that's the right way to live, then it doesn't matter.
Be the right way,
But also, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If we think that, if we perceive the world like this, and we think it's right, then why shouldn't we diverge from that?
Yeah.
Unless proven otherwise.
It's kind of like, this might be maybe slightly different, but in a sense kind of relates. If I really think the sky is red, like it could be red, like as in just to me specific. I know like that make like, it just sounds outlandish, but
that's very subjective.
Yeah, but like the world is subjective.
Yeah, so like if I see the sky as red and I completely believe it.
I mean, objectively,
is the sky red?
Objectively, it's blue. Objectively, it's not a color.
Okay, you could say that, but like,
No, but do you see the point?
I see the point.
I see the point. But obviously, like that's applied to more subjective things because that's what I'm saying with like the idea of cynicism being correct or Stoicism being correct. There's nothing actually proving that either one is the right way of living because the right way of living is up to the individual.
I think it's balance. It's balance, and it's good to have both, even if you're on the same team. Because if you have a group, let's say idealists and realists, okay, the idealists want to make something grand and spectacle and just flat out amazing, but the realists will keep the idealists in check on the ground, saying, look, I don't think that's probably possible, but I can see how we can turn your idea into something that's more plausible. I think it's reaching the middle and finding balance, and that being idealist and being realistic are both options you can become or choices you can have in your life. Okay, to be an idealist and reach for the stars, go for it. To be a realist and accept the place as it is, good. But it's when you get all these different people with all these different philosophical natures, decisions, lifestyle choices in the same room, that's where I believe things and changes start to happen. Because a cynic, stoic, you put them in the room, they can discuss it. If you put them in a group and a cynic is expecting the worst day, they can expect, okay, look, this is how reality can be at the lowest. And a stoic people was like, this is how people can become on their best days, and they can create a product, a lifestyle, a business that can probably hit all those target audience or something along the lines. Same as a realist and an idealist. I want something this grand and this amazing to reach everyone, and a realist will probably be like, yeah, let's do that, but let's keep it more realistic and more plausible so then it can reach everyone. And then they make that.
Yeah,
it's balance. It is being flexible and adapting to one position or another, or as I'm honestly more or less deciding, is that it's a choice that you make. It can be a lifestyle, but I would tend to oversimplify and say I will view it more as choices in multiple.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Think of like you've been handing a test and that's your entire life, and you're filling out all the multiple choice. And option 1 is cynicism to answer a decision in your life. Option B can be stoicism. You just do different ticks.
Yeah.
None are right, none are wrong. It's how you perceive it.
Yeah. And there's this there's actually a really good like quote here noted on the topic of cynicism, and says whether cynicism is more warranted now than ever is yours to decide, but it won't change the fact that the modern cynical outlook on life is terrible for your well-being. It makes you less healthy, less happy, less successful, and less respected by others.
So yeah, that's interesting. That's how he viewed it.
That's how he views it.
And see, that's how I agree with him there.
That's how I view it too, yeah. But, and look, here's another one actually. They disappoint themselves before the world can ever do it for them.
Yeah, that's the point we were stressing before. Yeah, exactly.
It's like even if good things were to happen,
you've already just
you already think that like there's no other way out of thinking that it's for shitty reasons.
Yeah.
And things are happening for shitty motives. You know, obviously, should you be skeptical of people's true motive? This is okay. I'm gonna say this is my final summary of my opinion.
Yeah, we'll do. Like, we'll kind of.
This is so. Should you be skeptical of people's true motives? Yes, of course. You have to be somewhat skeptical, because that's in our human nature to detect. You know, we think for the future. We're very different. Like as mammals, right? We're very different to other creatures, right? Like this is straight from the book, right?
We can talk. We can talk.
Yes, well, they can talk too, but in their own way.
Only parrots.
Yeah, true. But what was I saying now? Fuck, you stuff me up, man. You stuff me up.
I mean, hey, when you hear an offer that's too good, it's too good.
All right, so God. So what I was saying is, yes, it's in our nature to detect threat and to think for our future selves, and sometimes we put our future selves over our present self in most situations, right? And so it's natural for us to be suspicious of people's motives, but I believe that that not expecting the good out of people, but understanding that those people are good and bad people exist, and accepting that fact and moving on, right? So no matter what, not expecting good or bad, but accepting the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And
honestly, that's what I was going to say.
Prepared, and you're prepared for that situation. And so when you get to that point, you go, all right, this is what I can do. This is how I can personally develop from this.
Actually, someone even asked me a question.
Yeah.
Are you a skeptical person?
You got to speak up.
Are you I would probably say, yeah. As I was actually going to say before Joe said it, I was going to say I think what you should do in life is that you should always expect the worst in people and what they can offer or at first, but you should hope for the betterment of what they can do for you later. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Oi, Matthew, mate. Soy at Newton. Charcoal chicken. Getting a fat feed. What? Charcoal chicken. I haven't been there in months. I'm trying to figure out who this is.
From months ago. He's watching you.
So, boys, I just want to say, before we conclude it, as much as you can't get to a definitive, conclusive result, because philosophy is all perception, I just want to say I think this episode has been the most productive in coming closest to that. I feel like we've all, especially you and I, Joe, now we've understood that cynicism, some people may see that as good. So yeah, I just want to point that out.
It's all down to perception now.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of this episode, I was more about, this is
me too.
But in a sense,
yeah, I still kind of
sense that is my perception of it.
Yeah.
And that is my version of the right way to live.
Yeah, but then at the same time,
to me, it is. I can appreciate or not appreciate. I can understand and recognize and accept the fact that there's those people that think that cynicism is the best way of living. Not the best way of living, but their way of living, right?
It's an option to live.
But I still believe that having a stoic mindset and practicing stoicism in your everyday life is the most beneficial way of living your life, because you're able to give gratitude for the things that do matter.
Yeah.
You give gratitude for a lot of different things. For example, like cynicism. Cynic people would see life as this thing that just exists, and that the reality of it is that everyone just hates each other and is only doing things for themselves. And in my opinion, thinking like that just leads to a completely unhealthy way of living your life. And as a stoic, you're able to accept that those things do occur, and those bad and good things occur, and then to move on from that and say, okay, I'm a better person because of this.
Exactly.
And there is a positive outcome to those situations.
Yeah.
And even if it is a bad thing, like for example, somebody did something terrible to you, it's like, all right, well, I've learnt that person is not the right person to be hanging out with.
Malevolent and deceitful.
Right,
And
that's it. That's it.
And you move
Exactly.
on
And
grow.
you know what? I'm going to start surrounding myself with better people. And I wouldn't have figured that out if I didn't interact with the person and have those experiences with that person.
Exactly.
Like I did.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. I see that Stoicism, accepting life as it is, and understanding that things will have good and bad things will happen, is the right way of living.
Yeah. And two things before I'll end my piece is, from the start of this episode to now, would you say that I somewhat changed your view on how cynicism can affect someone, or the belief or benefit of it? Would you say?
Okay. This is where my stance is on it. Me, I still don't see any benefit in cynical. I don't see how it could benefit your life, and I don't see how it could influence anyone else's life for the better. But I understand that there are people's perception that, you know, that is the way of living. But at the same time, I still believe that everybody should try and still be stoic and see the positive in things, because there is no harm in doing so. And being the opposite of that, there is a lot of harm in doing that.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. So, no, I don't think you've changed my mind on it.
But you understand
but
it.
my understanding of the fact that there is no right or wrong, and that certain people do believe that it's right, and there's certain people that believe it's wrong, and this and that, it's all subjective. But yeah, like I said, I still believe that it is the right way of living, and that is my perception.
What about you, Joe?
Oh, like exact word for word what Joe said.
But you have a better understanding that how and why people like that exist.
Yeah, exactly. I can understand that, although I still think that's a terrible way to live. With all respect.
All respects.
With no respect.
Although if you are a cynic, stop it. I'm gonna be honest with you, just stop it. Alright?
Stop it.
Exactly.
Get
Damn
help.
right.
Yeah.
I think we should, well, like say what you have to
definitely
say, but I think we should wrap it.
We're going to get a quick summary of Matthew's opinion on the matter.
I was just going to say, expect the worst, hope for the best. That's how I would view it. Expect the worst, hope for the best. That's how I would sum up my whole argument from this episode. It is what it is. Expect the worst, hope for the best. But yeah, we've basically, how long are we talking about? 1 hour, 40 minutes? Gee.
Damn.
Pretty good talk.
Actually, one of our
I reckon we've pretty much covered everything.
I believe so.
We've understood each other's opinions, and, you know, it's all about respecting each other's opinions and understanding that we're probably most likely going to have different ideas of the way things should be.
Yeah.
And the way you live your life is up to you. And if you believe that's the right way of living your life, then I should have no say in that. Right? But as a firm believer in a certain thing, I have the right to try and convince, I guess, and try and defend my way of living, because
and try and negotiate.
that's right.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think it's our longest episode without a break, actually.
Yeah, without a break.
Without
yeah.
a break,
it's
this is
good.
our longest
Longest.
episode.
I like it without a break, I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm quite proud of ourselves, boys.
I'm proud.
oh, wait, sorry. Did you get your last opinion in, or did I just sort of...
Yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah,
You got it in? All
Yeah.
right, yes, that's right.
So,
yeah.
I'd like to thank you all for watching the return. The return of the Clarity Conference. We're back.
We're back. We got the dice rolling again. We got the ball roll, the dice rolling, the ball
Oh,
rolling.
no, dice
again.
rolling.
Dice
Same
rolling.
thing.
The
Same
same
thing.
thing.
We got the dice rolling.
Hopefully got the equipment sorted out.
Yeah. I
hopefully.
mean, we pretty
hopefully.
much got it sorted out. There might be a little bit of echoes here and there, but I think I've almost got it down. Fact, but yeah,
Just a few more testing. Hopefully it gets
Yeah.
sorted.
Exactly, you know.
yeah, we'll release more updates about our schedule and stuff, as we'll be sorting that out as well. Definitely will be a lot more consistent from this point on.
Yeah, especially with holidays and such.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially. Yeah. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much.
And,
Thank you.
Tune in next time.
Ciao, ciao, everyone. Bye bye.